So good morning, and thanks a million for joining me on the yoga mat this morning. This week's focus is on balance and stability. So we're both about creating balance within the body, so kind of noticing any little imbalances left to right, front to back, top to bottom. But also we want to stabilize the body using our balance poses, using our balance sequences. And with that, if there are any little instabilities within the body, we really notice them, or we really tune into them when we're in our balance poses, particularly our single-legged balance poses. So I want you to pay a really particular attention to that this morning. When we've been practicing for a while, we want to challenge ourselves a little bit more in our balance poses. You can do that. So basically, if you think of the more points of contact you have on the ground, the easier our balance is going to be to get. The least points of contact is going to be more challenging, and we're going to be forced to kind of engage with those deeper intrinsic muscles. So if you want to play around with it this morning, please do. And the other thing is our point of focus. So if we have a fixed point of focus, either to the ground or out in front, it's a little bit easier. If we rise our point of focus, or we take a moving point of focus, or we actually close down the eyes, that's going to challenge those deeper intrinsic muscles yet again. And the last bit is our surface. So if we're on quite a hard surface this morning, we'll probably find that our balance poses are a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier. If you want to challenge your balance, and particularly if you're trying to develop strength in those lower limbs and ankles, you come to a softer surface, so a carpeted surface, or you have a thicker mat, or you use things like your balance board, or your Bosu balls, things like that, just to challenge the balance a little bit more. So just when you are practicing in your own time, or this morning, you can try those little things just to challenge yourselves a wee bit more. And if you fall out, just come back in. So the nice thing about our balance poses, the more we do them, the easier and the more accessible they get. But if we give up after falling a couple of times, then we're never going to improve that balance. So come to a nice comfortable seat. And just noticing where the body's at this morning, noticing where those hips are at. See if we can roll the shoulders back and create a nice open space into the heart. Lengthening tall through the spine. We're going to inhale, press the chest to the right to bring it through center all the way over to the left. And as we exhale, tuck the chin, we're going to round into that upper back and continue with your own breath. Nice full circles into the body. So again, just awakening up the body here this morning. Maybe close down the eyes. We're rolling into the elbows, the shoulders, maybe even the head and neck relax a little bit more. As we press the heels of the hands into the legs, we're drawing that chest forward a little bit more, feeling that space into the lower spine, into the hips. Relax the breath. Softly in and out through the nose, but feel free to sigh the breath out if it feels better. So again, just warming up into the body here, nothing forced. And then eventually we meet back at center. We're going to reverse the crisscross of the legs. We work into the opposite side. So again, hands are rested. We're going to inhale, press the chest to the left. Draw it to center all the way over to the right. And as we exhale, tuck the chin and round into that upper spine and continue with your own breath. Nice full circular movement. Again, really exaggerate that movement into the body. Relax the breath, sighing softly if you wish. So really creating kind of like a wave-like motion within the body, trying to make it as loose and as organic and as free as you can. And then we meet back at center when you're ready. Opening the palms to the ceiling. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward and really stretch between the shoulder blades. And we'll do that 2 more times. So nice big stretch as we inhale, take the gaze up. And as we exhale, press forward and release. We'll do that once more. Lovely. We're going to work a little bit into that right hip. So we're going to pick the right foot up, place it into the left hand, knee into the right hand, sit nice and tall in the spine, maybe bring the shin a little bit higher, adjust that left foot if you need to. We're going to gently rock into that right hip, really slowly. So again, in order to engage with the core and in order to achieve those balance poses, we really need a nice little bit of mobility in the hips. So if the hips are tight, we might be pulling into parts of the body that we want to engage. So we will be doing a little bit of mobilization in this morning's practice. And just see if you can draw the knee a little bit further back, maybe draw the foot a little bit further across the body. Just testing our own natural range here without forcing it, but not being afraid to see how far we can go naturally here. Eventually we move back at center, hugging chest to shin, shin to chest, and maybe placing the foot into the left elbow crease, the knee into the right. We're just going to pause here with the breath, hugging that shin to the chest for 3, for 2, and 1. Holding on to the leg, we're going to place that right foot all the way over to the left and down to the ground. Wrapping the left arm around the leg, we're going to hug the leg tight into the body. So just a little twist here, looking over the right shoulder, feeling that release into the right glute. Lengthening on the inhale, drawing that right shoulder back a little bit more on the exhale. So just a little mini twist. Drawing the belly button in, create as much space so we can really hug that leg into the body for 3, for 2, and 1. Lovely. We're going to draw that right leg back, placing it into easy cross-legged, and then we're going to lift the left foot up. Placing it into the right hand, draw the toe toward the knee, knee into the left hand, sit nice and tall, maybe bring the shin a little bit higher, and again we gently rock into that left hip. And really noticing how the left hip compares to the right. Notice if we've got a little bit more range or a little bit less. Again, without forcing it, just noticing. Slowly, slowly. Relax the breath. Keeping that lovely engagement with the spine, with the core. Noticing how the hamstring feels here. The ITB. Even the lower leg. Eventually we'll meet back at center. Hugging chest to shin, shin to chest. If we want to go deeper into the hip, foot into the right elbow crease, knee into the left. And again, we're sitting nice and tall. And just focusing on drawing that shin toward the chest. Drawing those shoulder blades away from the ear, really relaxing into the spine for 3. For 2. And 1. We're going to gently bring that left foot all the way over to the right, place it to the ground. We're going to wrap the right arm around the left leg. Sitting tall, we're going to hug that leg into the body. We're just going to gently look over the left shoulder. So as we inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as we exhale, draw that left shoulder back a little bit more. Again, really feeling that lovely release into the left glute. And again, noticing left or right, how it feels. Last breath. And then gently release. We're going to place that left foot back into our easy cross-legged. And then from here, we're going to come to lie back on the ground. Just make sure you have your strap and your block there beside you within reach. So lying slowly back onto the ground. Knees are bent, feet are flat to start with. Again, continuing with that hip, we're going to hug the right knee in. We're going to straighten the left leg out. Right hand is on the knee, left hand is on the hip. We draw a few little hip circles here. Maybe moving the fingertips to the knees so those circles get a wee bit larger, or we can bring the right hand to the ground and make those circles as full and as round and as large as we can, bringing the whole length of that right leg into the movement. But again, only if that right hip feels stable. Feel free to keep that right hand guiding the leg. Relax the shoulders. Notice if we're bunching into the chest, melting those shoulder blades together on the ground. If we are using that right leg, really exaggerate that motion. So press it away through the heels. We straighten the leg, drawing it across the body into the chest, opening as wide as we can into that right hip. And just notice if the hip's a little bit tired or a little bit rigid. And again, just using the motion itself to try to warm up into that joint, again, without forcing it. Pressing that lower back into the ground. We're going to reverse the circles opposite direction. And just noticing sometimes we don't need that support of that right hand to guide, and then other times we do. So not just kind of going through the motions because that's what we're used to. Listening to the body and what it needs this morning. Relax the breath. Softly in and out through the nose, trying to access a little bit more space into the belly center. And then we'll hug that right knee back into the chest. Left hand is on the shin, right arm extends out in line with the shoulder, palm down. We'll shift the hips to the right and then roll the right leg across the body to the left. And we'll do a spine twist. Left hand rests on the other side. We're looking over toward the right fingertips. Right shoulder is glued to the ground. And just notice if that shoulder has come off the ground. Lift the knee until we can readjust. Or we can shift that hip a little bit further over to the right to allow ourselves more space into the twist. Stay here, taking a few nice full belly breaths. If we want to work into the left hip and quad, we can bend the left knee and walk that left foot a little bit further out to the right. And we might even catch hold of the front of the foot, but still drawing that right shoulder down, still drawing that right leg across the body. And again, encompassing that lovely deep belly breathing. One more breath on this side. And release the grip. Extend the arms back out. We'll straighten the left leg, slowly rolling back onto our backs. Hugging the right knee tight into the chest. See if we can press the chest toward the ceiling. So the head lifts off the ground, but we're not tucking the chin into the throat. We're relaxing those shoulders back. Feeling the core engaged, we're going to lift the left foot about 30-45 degrees off the ground, pressing actively away through that heel. See if we can lift the chest a little bit more, press that lower back into the ground. We're going to switch legs. So we're going to alternate legs. Just work with your own natural breath here. Don't forget to breathe. And again, we're lifting from the chest all the time. If we're feeling this a wee bit too much in the neck, try placing the tongue to the top of the mouth, just to release those neck muscles. Or if we're really not feeling it, you can rest the head and just work into the lower body. Relax the breath, relax those shoulder blades together. Next time we hug the left knee in, we're going to pause here, rest the head, rest the right foot. Right hand is on the shin, left arm extends out in line with the shoulder. We're going to shift the hips a wee bit to the left and then draw the left leg across the body to the right. Right hand rests on the outer thigh. We're looking over toward the left fingertips. Left shoulder glued to the ground. And again, if you need to shift the hips a wee bit more to the left. So ideally that left hip bone is stacked on top of the right and both hip bones are down the center line of our mat. If you want to go a little bit further into the right hip and quad, bend the right knee. Walk the right foot a little bit further out to the left. Maybe catch hold of the front of the foot if it's accessible. Still drawing that left leg across the body, hugging that left shoulder to the ground, and taking a few lovely deep belly breaths. And just working as much space as we can into the spine, mobilizing into the core. Relaxing with the breath. One more breath. And release. Extend the arms back out. We're going to straighten the right leg. Slowly rolling back onto our mat. We're going to hug both knees into the chest. A little bit of core just to activate those deeper muscles. We're going to reach for our block if we have it. Bringing the shins parallel to the ceiling, lower back pressed into the ground. We're going to catch hold of the shorter ends or the smaller ends of our block and place the block lengthways above both knees. Hooking the block in place using the elbows. If you don't have a block, same positioning, except we'll bring those elbows back toward the ground. The same positioning with the legs. If we have the block, fingertips to the side of the head. See if we can lift from the chest and rest the head into those hands. Again, this can be done with or without the block. Pressing the lower back into the ground, feeling those core muscles engage. We're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, straighten the right leg out, hovering it off the ground. Make sure that lower back stays on the ground. Inhale, knees together in. Exhale, straighten the left leg out and continue with your own breath. Alternating legs. So that leg is anywhere between 30-45 degrees off the ground. Shins parallel to the ceiling. We're working hard to keep that block in place. So we're having to engage with our stabilizing muscles here in the hips as well. Relax the breath. Notice if you're holding it. Nice and soft, strong. Soft and strong. And slow the movement right down. So we're not just going through the motions here. We're noticing what that feels like within the body. We'll do one more, both sides. Last one. Gently release the head, release the feet, relax the back off to the side. We're going to bring the feet the width of the mat apart. Allow the knees fall to touch, opening the arms into cactus arm, pressing the lower back into the ground, and just feel that space into the pelvis. Enjoy that space. And we're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, drop the knees all the way over to the right as we look over the left shoulder. Inhale back through center, exhale, knees drop to the left as we look over the right shoulder, and continue here with your own breath. Gently windscreen wipering those knees side to side, slowly, slowly, trying to get the knees as close to the ground, if not to the ground. And again, just make sure those feet are wide enough apart. The opposite knee has space to work behind the opposite foot. Each time we come through center, really pressing the lower back and glutes into the ground. So we're getting a nice gentle self massage here. Relax the breath. Softly, softly. And then eventually meeting back at center, we bring the feet together, knees together. We're going to bring the hands to the ground, fingertips point to the front of the mat. And then we're going to scooch the forearms underneath the hips, underneath the lower back, creating a little cradle for the lower body. Relax the shoulders back together. From here, we're going to straighten both legs up toward the ceiling, pressing away through the heels. Try to keep those legs straight, but if it's too much in the hamstring, you can soften the knees. We're going to start to draw a few little circles to the right. I want you to imagine you're drawing a whirlpool, and each circle gets a little bit larger. Pressing away through the heels, feeling that length into the back of the legs. Nice slow circles. We're about a quarter way to the ground here. And again, you'll notice the larger those circles get, the more challenging it is on the core. About halfway there. We're about 3/4 way there. Those feet are nearly on the ground. And notice that lower back wants to make its way off the ground, but we're not going to let it. Nearly toward the ground, about an inch off the ground, and then we're going to reverse those circles. Opposite direction, starting big this time. And again, making that little whirlpool a little bit smaller. So each circle would end the last. 3/4 of the way to the floor. Nice, slow, large, smooth circles. We're about halfway from the floor. Nearly there. Those circles are getting quite small now. A little bit smaller, and then we're going to meet at the top. We're going to inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to lower the legs, but keep that lower back planted into the ground, all the way to the ground. Excellent. We're going to bring those arms back overhead, reaching through the fingertips, pointing through the toes. See if you can stretch the right side of the body a little bit more. So press away through that right foot, that right hand, and then see if you can stretch into the left side a little bit more. So just alternating that stretch side to side, elongating the side waist, opening into the hips, the knees, the ankles, the shoulders. Relax the breath. And just creating that space within the body. And then from here, we're going to hug the knees back into the chest, give them a nice little squeeze. And then we're going to bring those legs so that we've got lovely 90-degree angles at the ankles, at the knees, and at the hips. So shins are parallel to the ceiling. Hands are rested on the thighs, fingertips point toward the ceiling. And we're just going to do a little bit of stabilization into the pelvis here. So all we're going to do here, we're going to press hands into legs, legs into hands, and hold. So there's no movement, but we should feel that really strong into the core, into the pelvis, pressing that lower back into the ground. Holding it, but not the breath. Really active here for 3, for 2, and 1. Release the feet to the ground. Bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees drop out. Take a moment here. Pressing that lower back into the ground. Just taking a few nice full belly breaths. And really feel that belly breath with the hands. We're going to do that again, bringing the knees together, feet together. We bring those shins parallel to the ceiling, 90-degree angles at all the leg joints. Hands placed to the thighs, fingertips point to the ceiling. Pressing lower back into the ground, pressing hands into thighs, thighs into hands. Activate here. So again, quite a strong little pose without any movement. And just enjoying that strength within the body. Relax the breath, relax the shoulders for 3. For 2, and 1. Release the feet, bring the soles of the feet together, allow the knees drop out, hands are on the belly, lower back pressed into the ground. Just take a few nice full belly breaths. Last one, knees together, feet together, shins parallel to the ceiling, 90 degrees at all the joints, hands to the legs, pressing lower back into the ground, hands to legs, legs to hands, just really feeling that activation. Relax the breath. Really strong. You should be able to place that left hand on the belly and just really feeling those muscles engage for 3, for 2, and 1. This time we're going to hug the knees toward the armpits. Hips are really wide here. Knees are working away from each other. Heels are working away from each other. We'll just make a few little circles, figure 8s into that lower back, either or both directions, whatever feels good. So the hands are rested on the shins. We're going to inhale, press the shins into the hands. And as we exhale, see if those hips want to widen a little bit more. So we're going to inhale, press shins into hands. Exhale, opening into the hips. We'll take one more breath here. You can continue here if you want to come into your full happy baby. Soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling. Lower back is on the ground. Catch and hold the calf, shins, maybe ankles. Maybe inner arches of the feet, or we can interlock middle and index finger around the big toes. Just make sure we feel really solid on the earth. Nice and stable. Inhale, press soles of the feet toward the ceiling. Exhale, draw the knees down toward the ground beside us. Inhale, press up. Exhale, draw down. 3 more breaths here, whichever pose you've chosen. Activating on the inhale, releasing, deepening on the exhale. Last breath. Excellent. We're going to bring those knees back into the chest. Crisscross the ankles, option to make your way anyway to seat, or you can rock and roll. Just the once. We're going to bring ourselves forward into a nice strong seat at the front of the mat. Straight away, we bring those hands out in front, fingers widely spread. Shifting the body weight forward, we're going to step back onto our knees and center ourselves in the middle of our mats in a nice, strong tabletop. Shoulders over elbows over wrists, elbow creases face forward, knees hip width distance apart, hips over knees. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And again, just notice if the belly's collapsed, see if we can draw the belly button in, engaging with those core muscles. We're going to inhale, draw the chest forward as we take the gaze up and arch the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, take the gaze back toward the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the ground, curl through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest, and continue with your own breath. Again, making sure those elbow creases are facing forward and the elbows aren't popping out to the sides. So we're staying nice and stable in those shoulder joints. Nice and strong in the arms. Exaggerate the movements. Closing down the eyes and just really engaging with the movement. Feel free to take any variation if you feel like rocking the hips side to side, if you feel like sitting all the way back to the heels. So really, we're just trying to create as much space within the torso, within the core of the body, whatever way we choose to do. Exaggerate the movement, just allow the body go with the flow here. Feel free to sigh the breath out if it feels good. Coming to stillness here. We're going to step back onto the ball of the right foot. Gently press away through the heel. Get a nice little stretch for 3, for 2, and 1. Drop the right heel down. We're going to swivel on the left knee. Bring the left foot behind us. Left hand is on the ground. Right hand is on the hip. Notice if we're collapsing forward, you can come up onto the fingertips so we can really get that space into the body. Or you can place the left hand onto your block if you want a little bit more space again. Listening to the body, we're going to inhale the right arm up. And as we exhale, reach the right arm all the way overhead. Arm is right back in line with the ear. If you want to challenge the balance, we're going to follow the right middle finger with the gaze, so a moving point of focus. As we inhale, knee to elbow in, nice and slow. Exhale, extend it out, reaching the arm overhead, pressing away through that right heel. Inhale, knee to elbow in. Exhale, extend it out. Continue with your own breath. Try not to touch the foot down if you can. But if you need to, just ever so lightly, ever so softly. You can even reach that arm and foot behind if you feel like getting a little bit more stretch into the front of the body. So just noticing where you're at this morning, feeling that into the right hip, all along the side waist. We're going to meet an extension, arm overhead, right foot to the ground. We bring the right hand to the waist, and then we're going to inhale all the way up to center. Tucking the left toe under. As we exhale, we're going to sit back toward the heel and walk those hands forward out in front. Softening the head, softening the neck, pressing the outer blade of that right foot into the ground. If you wish, you can always untuck the toe and sit all the way back toward the heel. Only if it feels good, you might come down onto the forearms. Again, just a little bit static here, softening into that right inner hip, feeling that stretch in the outer right ankle. And again, those hips and ankles are very much connected. Often if we've been niggling one side, we might compensate into the other. Relax the head, give it a little shake, turn mind it to relax. 2 more breaths here. Tuck the chin in, bring those hands back to the ground. We're going to shift the body weight forward, tuck the toe under if it's not there already, and slowly come right back up. Lovely. Left hand comes to the ground, out front. Right hand comes to meet it. We're going to swivel on that left knee. Again, pressing the ball of that right foot into the ground for 3, for 2, and 1. Right knee comes in to meet left, back into our tabletop, stepping back onto the ball of the left foot. Gently press away through the heel for 3, yielding that stretch for 2. And 1, we'll drop the left heel down, swivel on the right knee, bring that right foot behind us. Right hand is on the ground, left hand is on the hip. Pressing the outer blade of that left foot into the ground, we're going to lift those hips forward, drawing that left shoulder back. You might need to come up onto the fingertips or onto a block with that right hand. Inhale the left arm up, and as we exhale, reach the left arm all the way overhead. Arm is right back in line with the ear. We can follow the left middle finger with the gaze if we want to challenge the balance, otherwise gaze could come out front. Inhale, knee to elbow in. Exhale, extend it out and reach. Continue with your own breath. I want you to really exaggerate that stretch and reach into the left side and front of the body. Feel free to reach the left arm and foot behind if you feel like you're getting a little bit more from the movement. Relax the breath. We're inhaling, knee, elbow in, and we're exhaling, extend it out. 2 more. Nice and strong in that right arm, that right shoulder. Last one. Meeting an extension, arm overhead, we rest the left foot down, left hand comes to the waist. With control, slowly coming up through center. We're going to tuck the right toe under, gently sit back toward the heel and walk those hands forward out in front. As far as we can go, pressing the outer blade of that left foot into the ground. We might even untuck the right toe and come a little bit closer toward the earth, only if it feels good. Feel free to drop down onto the forearms or whatever feels deeper and better for your practice. Relax the head, relax the neck, maybe give it a little shake to remind us to relax. Again, trying to get the whole flat of that left foot placed on the ground. Relax the breath. Softly, softly. And again, just pausing here in the pose. Feeling that release in the inner left hip and leg. The outer lower leg and ankle. For 3. For 2. And 1, tuck the chin in, gently send the body weight forward, come up onto the hands. We can tuck that right toe under. And then we're going to walk those hands back around to the front, swivel on the right knee. We're still on the ball of the left foot. We're going to press away through the heel for 3. For 2. And 1, left knee comes back into our tabletop, adjust as you need. Walk the hands forward out in front, fingers slightly spread, knees are hip width distance apart. We're going to tuck the toes under, gently sending those hips back toward the heels, walking the hands forward a little bit more and see if we can sink the body to the ground. Resting the forehead either to the ground or to a block if it doesn't quite reach. Staying low in our child's pose, but we're going to come up onto the finger pads and really feel that stretch into the arms, in between the shoulder blades, pressing the ground away, drawing those sit bones a little bit further back toward the heels if we can. Relax the chest, feeling it melt toward the ground. Nice full belly breaths here in our child's pose variation. And then from here, we'll flatten out the hands, looking back between the feet. We're going to press the feet and hands into the ground, lift the knees, and lift those hips as high as we can toward the ceiling, coming right up onto the tippy toes. And as we exhale, release those heels down toward the ground as far as we can go. We're going to gently paddle out the feet, allowing opposite heels melt softly toward the ground. Pressing the ground away, drawing the chest a little bit closer toward the mat, feeling that space between the shoulders into the lower back. Imagining that we're being suspended by a little string attached to the base of our spine. So really reaching those hips toward the ceiling. Relax the head, relax the neck. Shake it out if you need. We're going to look forward between the hands, gently walk away to the front of the mat. Come to a lovely wide-legged forward fold. Feet are wider than the width of the mat apart. As wide as we need, that we can touch the fingertips quite easily to the ground, maintaining length in the legs, but also a nice long spine. And if we find that we need an extra little bit of length in those arms, we can place our block and use it as the ground. Left hand stays grounded. We're going to inhale the right arm up and open. The heart gaze follows up. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, left arm up and open the heart. Exhale, release, and continue with your own breath. Nice, relaxed movement within the body. Following that extended arm with the gaze, if it's okay on the neck. We should be able to wiggle our toes quite easily here. So all that weight is back into the hips and heels. Legs are straight. If they're not, bring them a little bit wider apart or use your block. Relax on that exhale. Feel free to sigh it out if it feels good. Just creating space. Last one, both sides. Making it a nice, relaxed forward fold. Just let everything hang out of your head, neck, arms, shoulders release. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out, release. And then gently tuck the chin in. We're going to slowly roll our way all the way up to stand. Head comes up last. And gently heel toe those feet toward each other. Take a little drink here if you wish. We're going to work into our tree pose before our flow this morning. So I'm going to invite you to join me. If you feel a little bit off balance this morning, you can try for your balance pose near a wall or near a chair, just so that you can touch off it, not to rely on it too much. So we're going to meet feet hip-width distance apart. Hands are going to come to the hips. We're going to rotate that right hip open, and we're going to rest the right heel just above the left ankle. And just notice that that left hip collapses. We're going to pop it right back in so that both hips are in line. Notice if the knee is slightly forward, we're going to try and engage with that right glute to open into that hip, but keep the hips pointed forward. And that might be our tree pose this morning. If we feel like going a little bit further, we're going to rest the foot to the calf, but again, continue to work that right knee outwards. If that feels good, we might bring the right foot to the upper inner thigh, but again, we're opening into the hip all the time. So although this is a balance pose, we've got a lot of other things going on. We can keep the hands to the hips, or we can bring the hands to heart. I want you to find a point out in front, a drishti point, to focus your gaze. And again, we're just looking for stillness here. Keep working that right knee outward. So wherever that foot is, it's either above or below the knee. Just making sure that we're not pressing laterally into the knee joint itself. Relax the shoulders, lengthening taller through the spine. See if we can grow a little bit taller toward the ceiling. If you want to come into your full tree, we're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. And as we exhale, opening our branches into our full tree. Pressing index finger and thumb together, creating a little energy line or mudra. See if we can draw the belly button in a little bit more. So imagining the space between the heart center and the belly shrinking just a little bit. Relax the shoulders. Again, we can stay here, just aiming for stillness. If we want to challenge the pose, we can gently sway our branches. We can twist through our trunk. We can use our gaze. If you want, you can close down the eyes, even just for a second, and notice how that throws our balance. So our gaze is so important for our balance. Again, if you want to create a little bit less point of contact to the ground, you can see if you can hover that left heel off the ground. So again, if you fall out, we're just coming back in. Nice and strong, working strength, stability into that standing leg, into those hips. Wherever we are, we're just going to find stillness here for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come back to heart. We'll bring that right knee out in front, and as we exhale, release and let it go. We're going to shake that left foot out. So again, you really work quite a lot of strength and stability into those ankles, those lower legs, those hips. So much stuff happening here in our standing pose. Okay, other side. Feet nice to grounded, hip width distance apart, hands to hips to start with. We're going to rotate that left hip open, resting the heel above the ankle. Again, making sure that right hip doesn't pop out. We're not hanging out in our tree. Working that left knee outward, maybe placing the foot to the calf, making sure the foot, that right foot is really solid, so spreading through those toes. If you want to go a little bit further, left foot comes to the upper inner thigh. And again, trying to work that left knee outward, but just the knee, so those hips are still pointed forward. We might bring the hands to heart. Again, finding that point of focus out in front to fix your gaze. Relaxing into the pose. So again, just looking for stillness and stability to begin. Drawing the belly button in, feeling that strength in the core. Relax the shoulders, growing a little bit taller in the spine. If that feels good, we're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together. And as we exhale, opening our branches into our full tree, pressing index finger and thumb together, relax the shoulders back. Notice if the rib cage is flaring. So again, tucking that belly button in. Relax the head, relax the neck, softening the shoulders. And again, just aiming for stillness. And feel free to stay in stillness. This can be a lovely grounding pose, a really nice way of bringing focus to the moment. If you want to challenge the balance, you can always sway your branches. So just bringing a little bit of movement into the upper body, maybe twisting through the trunk. But again, whatever you wish. You can try experimenting with the gaze by closing the eyes down. Woo! Even just for a second, I can feel that. If you want a little bit less points of contact to the ground, you can see if you can hover that right heel off the ground. And again, this is a really good way of testing left to right. Maybe we could do it quite easy on one side and not so on the other. So again, this is definitely a pose that you can revisit yourself in time and spend a lot more time here experimenting with those standing legs, trying to create a little bit more strength. Wherever we are, we're going to come to stillness here. Relax the breath, softening for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come back to heart. We're going to bring that left leg out in front, and as we exhale, let it go. Shaking that right foot out. Lovely. Again, take a little drink here if you need. We're going to meet at the front of the mat, and we're going to work a little flow for the rest of the class this morning. Again, we will start with a single-legged balance pose. So if you feel you want a wall nearby or a chair out front, just that you can catch hold, feel free. So we're going to start at the front of the mat, knees together, feet together. Left hand is on the hip. We're going to bend the right knee, but keep the knees together and see if we can catch hold of the inner arch of that right foot. So we're going to be working toward dancer. Hips are still pointed forward. We're going to press the foot into the hand, but draw that heel away from the bum. See if we can bring that left arm out in front. Palm faces the side wall. We're looking toward that left thumb. Keeping the knees toward the midline of the body, so not allowing that right knee splay out. We're going to press the foot into the hand and see if we can lift that heel a little bit further back. So lifting that foot as high as we can go. And then when we can't go any further, see if we can hinge the body forward. And again, you can use anything out in front to place that left hand for a little aid here. So again, nice little balance, working a bit of space into that right hip and quad, holding it for 3. Lifting for 2. And 1, inhale, knees back together, back into stand. We're going to lift that right knee out in front. As we exhale, soften the left knee. We're going to step that right foot back into lunge. From here, we're going to bring the left foot parallel to the right, and then we're going to splay both feet out at about 45 degrees. Softening into the knees, we're going to open those arms into our cactus arms. So getting into a little lunge squat here. And just feeling that space into the shoulders, into the hips. We're going to inhale, straighten the legs, bring the arms together overhead, palms together, gaze goes up. As we exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, opening into cactus. Inhale, rise, gaze follows up. Exhale, squat. Continue with your own breath. So we're really keeping that space into the heart, working a little bit of strength into those shoulders as we draw the shoulder blades together, and only lowering as deep as feels good for you in your body in that squat. Working the knees outwards, so notice if they're collapsing inward, we need to engage with those hips so they're not collapsing. And a little bit lower if it feels good. We're going to meet with legs straight. We're going to extend the arms out in line with the shoulders, palms face down. Bringing that right foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. We'll bring the left foot to point forward. We're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, keeping both legs straight, we're going to reach that left fingertips all the way out in front. Bringing the back of the arm to the inner leg. Extend the right arm up. Looking upwards. Pressing those hips forward, drawing the right shoulder back. Really reaching through fingertips, both left and right. Holding it for 3, for 2, and 1. We're going to inhale the right arm all the way overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to bring that right hand down to meet left. From here, we're going to shift that back foot so that the foot is pointing toward 2 o'clock in the clock. And we're going to rest those hands on the shin. Trying to maintain a nice little bit of length into the spine here. We're going to inhale, lengthen. And as we exhale, folding over that left leg. Only as deeply as feels good for your hamstring. Inhale, lengthen forward through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, fold. 3 more breaths here. Lengthening. Folding. 2 more. Keeping those hips pointed forward. Heart pointed forward. Last one. Lovely. We're going to soften through the left knee, framing the left foot with both hands. We'll come onto the ball of the right foot, softening the right knee to the ground. Inhale, both arms out, reaching up, palms together, interlock all fingers, bar the index and thumb. And then we're going to reach those arms back overhead as we send the hips forward, bending into the left knee, drawing the belly in for 3, for 2, and 1, framing that left foot with both hands. Coming off the right knee, we're going to bring that right foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. And then we're going to walk the hands to the side, bending into the right knee. A little half squat. Draw the left toe toward the face. We're going to pause here. And again, only going as deeply as feels good. Breathing into that space for 3, for 2, and 1. Planting that left foot, we're going to find ourselves in the center in a nice low squat. Almost into cobblers, but not quite, so those feet are still quite wide. Again, we can challenge the pose by bringing the hands to heart. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come back to the ground. This time we're going to shift the body weight over to the left. Drawing that right toe toward the face. So same pose, opposite side. Softening here. Again, keeping a nice long spine, working that right toe actively toward the face for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently flattening out that foot. We're going to walk the hands all the way to the back of the mat, coming onto the ball of that left foot. Softening the left knee to the ground. We're going to inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together, interlock all fingers, bar the index and thumb. Arms back in line with the ears. We're going to send those hips forward, send those arms backward, draw the belly in, gazes up, bending into that right knee for 3, for 2, and 1. Framing the right foot with both hands. We're going to come off the left knee, step the left foot a little bit further forward, and then we're going to straighten the right leg, see if we can rest those hands to the shin. Left foot is pointing slightly forward at about 10 o'clock on the clock. We're nice and long in the spine. We're going to inhale, lengthen, and as we exhale, fold over that right leg. Continuing here with your own breath, keeping it as active or as passive as feels good. You might find those fingertips come quite easily to the ground, but I want you to make sure that you keep that lengthened spine, so we're not rounding into the spine here, particularly the upper back. 2 more breaths. Last one. Lovely. Slight bend to the right knee. We're going to shift that left foot back. So the left foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. And engaging the core, bringing ourselves up through center stand. Right foot points to the back of the mat. We're going to extend the arms out in line with the shoulders, palms down. Inhale. And as we exhale, reach the right fingertips as far forward as we can go. Both legs are straight. We're going to bring the back of the arm to the inner leg. Extend the left arm up. Same as we did. Pressing the hips forward, drawing the left shoulder back, taking the gaze up. Arms are wide open, fingers reaching to the ground, reaching to the ceiling for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale all the way back to center. We're going to bring both feet parallel to each other and then slightly splay them out at 45 degrees. Bringing those arms into our cactus. We're going to soften into our squat. Again, just as deep as feels good for you. Inhale, straighten the legs, bring the arms together overhead, palms together, gaze goes up. Exhale, lower into our squat. Cactus arms. Continue with your own breath. Lengthening on that inhale, deepening, opening on that exhale. Keep drawing the belly button in so we're not compressing into that lower back. Nice and strong. Last one. We're going to meet with straightened legs. We're going to bring those hands to heart center. Right foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. Left foot points forward. We're going to frame the left foot with both hands. Gently step the right foot up to meet left. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center. Hands extended up, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. We're going to work into the opposite side on the left. So again, starting at the front of the mat, if you need something to tip your hand off, find a place. We're going to meet with feet together, knees together. That right hand is on the hip to start with. We're going to bend the left knee, draw the heel toward the bum. See if we can catch hold of the inner arch of that left foot. So the wrist is facing toward the side wall. Just notice how that feels, really spreading those toes of the right foot. You can stay here, pressing the foot into the hand into the foot. And if that feels good, we're going to bring that right arm out in front, looking toward the right palm. Pressing the heel away from the bum, but make sure the knees are toward the midline of the body. Lifting as high as we can go. So we're not hinging until we've lifted as far as we can go, and then see if we can hinge the body weight forward. Relax the breath, find that focus out in front. We're going to hold it for 3, lifting for 2, and 1. Inhale, back to center. We're going to lift that left knee out in front, and as we exhale, soften the right knee. We're going to step back into our lunge. We're going to drop the left heel down. We're going to bring that right foot inwards, so both feet are parallel to each other, and then we bring both feet out at 45 degrees. We're going to soften into the knees. We're going to open those arms into cactus. Inhale, straighten the legs, arms together overhead, palms together. Exhale, lower into our cactus squat. Continue with your own breath. We're really drawing those shoulder blades together, making sure the knees are not collapsing inward, engaging with those hips to really open it into that space. Nice and strong. Nice and long in the spine, no compression in that lower back. Last one. And then we'll meet and stand, palms together. We're going to bring the right foot parallel to the front edge of the mat, left foot points forward. Extend the arms out, palms face down. Inhale here, and as we exhale, reach those left fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg, extend the right arm up. Pressing the hips forward, drawing the right shoulder back for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale the right arm all the way overhead. As we exhale, bring the right hand down to meet left. We're going to place the hands in the shins. See if we can scooch that right foot so that it's pointing slightly forward, about 45 degrees. Hands are rested on the shins, keeping the spine long. We're going to inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as we exhale, gently fold over that left foot. And adjust that back foot as much as you need, that you feel nice and stable here, folding forward. So I don't want you to be feeling like that you're shaking all over the place. Nice, strong, stable base. 2 more breaths. The last one. Excellent. We're going to soften the left knee, frame the left foot. Coming onto the ball of the right foot, we'll soften the right knee to the ground. Inhale, both arms out, reaching up, palms together, interlock fingers, except index and thumb. Reaching those fingers all the way to the back of the room, sending those hips forward, bending into the left knee for 3, for 2, and 1. Framing the left foot with both hands. Coming off the knee, we're going to drop that right foot down and slowly walk our way so that we can bend into the right knee, draw the left toe toward the face, into a little half squat, half low squat, holding it here. Releasing for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently walking the hands towards center. Both feet are flat on the ground, splayed outward. Low squat. Again, almost cobbler squat. We can bring the hands to heart if it feels good for 3. Lengthening through the spine for 2, and 1. Hands to the ground, sending the body over to the left. We're going to draw those right toes toward the face, holding it here. For 3. For 2. And 1. Gently flattening both feet out. We're going to walk the hands all the way to the front of the mat, coming onto the ball of the left foot. Resting the left knee down. We'll inhale both arms out, reaching up, palms together, interlock all fingers, bar index and thumb. Reaching the fingertips, taking the gaze toward the ceiling. Little back bend here as we bend into the right knee, draw the belly in for 3. For 2. And 1, framing that right foot. Coming off the left knee, we can step that left foot slightly forward, both feet face forward, straightening that right leg. We're going to rest the hands onto the shin. So again, right foot points forward, left foot is pointing forward but slightly outward to the left. And again, just find balance here. Inhale, lengthen, and as we exhale, fold over that right leg. Keeping that length in the spine, and you might find that you're folding a lot more than I am, but try to keep that long spine so we're not rounding the spine in this particular one. Relax the breath. Softening for 3. For 2. And 1, slight bend to the knee, placing those fingertips to the ground just so we can step that left foot back a little bit longer. Dropping the left heel down. Back foot parallel to the back edge of the mat, right foot points forward, both legs are straight. Extend the arms out, palms face down. We'll inhale here, and as we exhale, reach those right fingertips as far forward as we can go. Bring the back of the hand to the inner leg, extend the left arm up, opening into the heart, reaching through fingertips, gaze is up for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale all the way back up to center. As we exhale, hands to heart, we're going to bring the gaze forward, bring that left foot so it's pointed forward, and then slowly step the left foot up to meet right. Inhale, both arms out, reaching up. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge the body to the right. So a nice little stretch to the right, sending those fingertips all the way to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, send it to the left, really pressing that right hip to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Back to center. Exhale, left. And gently back to center. I'm going to bring those hands to heart. Inhale, both arms out, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Stepping or lightly jumping back to plank. Last little flow. Landing softly. Inhale here. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to the mat, elbows in. Roll the heart forward, untuck the toes, press the feet into the ground. Exhale, tuck the toes, press the ground away. Downward dog. Take a nice deep breath here. Sigh it out. And then gently release those knees down to the ground. Bring the big toes to touch and softly sit back into our child's pose. Making a little pillow by piling one hand, one fist on top of the other. Maybe just rocking the hips a little bit side to side, maybe rolling the neck. Just releasing any last little bit of tension that we're holding this morning. Softening the belly, softening the breath, melting the heart. Coming to stillness. And just taking a couple of moments here to really ground yourselves. Forget about what we need to do or where we need to be, and just be here just for this moment on our mat with our own breath, feeling our connection to the earth beneath us, that groundedness within the body. When you're ready, we're going to tuck the chin in, press the hands into the ground, slowly walk the hands back toward the body as we come to sit back up onto the heels, and we can bring the knees together. We can finish our practice here, sitting back on the knees. We can come back into easy cross-legged or any other seat that feels particularly good for you this morning. So finishing just like we started, getting nice and grounded, nice and open in the heart, nice and long in the spine. We'll open the palms to the ceiling. And then inhale both arms out, reaching up. Interlock fingers, press palms to ceiling. As we exhale, press the palms forward, release the breath, sigh it out and let it go. We'll do that 2 more times. Gently bring the hands to heart, press the palms together, close down the eyes. And just thank yourself for creating a wee bit of space in your morning to come to the mat, to look after yourself, to create some lovely space, some nice strength and stability, and hopefully take that with you into the day and into the days to come. Thank you for sharing your practice and your energy with me. Namaste.